I'm looking at this slow movement of the Mozart K545, and I'm here at my Steinway piano. And what I do first is, I notice there's a broken chord bass permeating most of the first page, because I'm going to work on the first page today. And therefore it suggests blocking, because I want to get a sense of what chords, when I block them, have leaning potential to resolving in. What are surprise chords? What chords are diminished chords, leaning on their resolutions? Where are the dominant chords going to their resolution? Where are there unexpected progressions, such as a tonic, such as G major, going to a sixth chord? The sixth chord is a substitute chord for one chord because they share two of the same notes, G, B, D, paired with E, G, B. They both share G, B. And we often use it as a substitute chord. We also see six chords following dominants, which are surprises, because dominants like to go to tonic. So if they go to the sixth chord, it creates an emotional interest or response. So you always want to be aware of that. So the first thing I'm going to do is play through the chords, because they're mostly chords on this page, and I'm going to try to phrase the chords according to the harmonic rhythm, we say. That is the harmonic flow. So it's in 3/4 time, so each chord takes up the space of a quarter note. So we start with a tonic. This one should be floated because it's the same chord. Lean on the dominant 7, resolve it. Float it, float it. 4-chord lean, float it. Lean a little on the diminished, resolve the diminished. You can see how that falls or folds into the tonic. Lean into the dominant 7, 3 times, resolve it. Tonic, surprise, 6th chord. Listen to the bass note on the bottom. Now we have no more broken chords, so I'm not going to chord this, but I'm going to look at what's happening here, which is going to be exactly this. Rest, that was a dominant there. Tonic, less. Float it. Lean, dominant 7, resolve. Float it. Lean 4, that's a subdominant. Lean, diminished, resolve it. There you go. Float it. Dominant 7, float it, resolve it. 6th chord into the bass. B, 2/6 chord, 1/6/4, 5/7. Lean less. Rest. Now that last 4th to the 3rd, on top of that we'll create a suspension. The suspension note would be the G on the bottom, because the G doesn't belong to the top 3 notes, which fall into the dominant. So it is suspended over until it resolves into the tonic. And the technique I use of resolving so I don't fall down hard on the resolution is a slight wrist forward. So the wrist is playing the resolution, not the finger, as much as the wrist plays the finger. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the melody, and actually when I look at the melody I'm going to add the chords under it, because the chords help me shape the melody. I already kind of know what I'm leaning on, so it supports the melody and its contour. Now remember, I'm playing slow, so the star of this first page and the whole movement actually is the right hand, the soprano line. That's definitely the leader. It's the protagonist in this, soloist. So wants to come out, so play with the balance. Play with the balance first. So that you hear the cushion of harmony under it, and you hear this beautiful beat that's ringing through. Now the interesting thing is I have dead weight on that finger too, just hanging. Make sure you're hanging behind your finger and very suspended with your arm, so you have no tension. And this is spongy here. That's very important. Now that B is going to have to linger all the way across 2 beats and then continue seamlessly into the 16th notes following. You don't want to have a juncture that's an interruption. You want to absolutely have a continuity. That's tricky. So I'm going to try for that. Thread it in. This one survives, decays, and then threads in. This is tricky. First I would do a legato. Destination. So what's really tricky about this is it's detached with staccato marks, but it doesn't want to be dry. It still has to have horizontal motion. So the way I try to get the phrasing is to first do it legato with the right fingers. I'm going to now detach and try to preserve the horizontal motion. That was better than most. Now here our sequence is in 4s. What you want here is 1, 2, 3, 4, next 2, 3, 4, next 2, 3, 4, 1, and dot, and 3, and so. So what you have there is 3 sets of sequences. Here's the first one. Whole step, half step. Next one. Whole step, half step. Whole step, half step. So you're kind of feeling a bit of 4 plus 4 plus 4 without that accent juncture between each 4. That it is wavy 4 plus 4 plus 4. So I'm looking at that fingering there that I have. The first one is 4, 3, 2, 3, next one. It's 2, 4. I'm not sure I agree with that fingering, but that's okay. Alternate fingering. 3, 4, 3, 2, 1. I like that better. So you can alter the finger a little bit, but you want to get the sense of 4 plus 4 plus 4 in 4 plus 4 plus 4 waves of 4. So then, variation. So you get that from this original melody. Here it is, coming, permeating through this variation is that simple line. Now here, so now we have to try to simulate that. In this case, he takes a scale all the way up to that 4 chord. Remember, the 4 chord was here, the subdominant. We leaned on it, and we leaned a little bit on the diminished resolvent. So what he does a little bit different in the variation is after he has the first part, he has a scale that's sort of an upbeat to that 4 chord, and then that diminished chord, and then that tonic chord. So you have to know how to execute that scale, which has staccato. I don't think it should be dry. I think it should be just like I did before, played legato first and then snipped it out and played horizontally. So that is something to play with here. First thing, that finishes something. Now we're going to have an upbeat all the way to there. That's what's going to happen. We're going to finish one idea. I'm done. Now I am going to there. See how sensitive this is to how you're phrasing and contouring it, because things can start popping out and you lose the waviness and the horizontal floating nature of this movement, not to mention the singing tone. So what I suggest you do is you finish, then you play a scale, and you realize how you're playing this scale to that. And then you play it as written. Did something different that time. Actually, what I did was I lightened up the diminished chord. Probably you could do it either way. You could lean on it and resolve it. On the repeat, you might want to do less. Makes it different on the whole repeat of the section. So paying attention to the very first 3 lines gives a clue to how you're going to play the next number of measures, because they're variations of the beginning. I want to point out that main theme when I block it. Answer to the first two measures. Crescendo, build to this. The sequence is down in 4s. Now here comes the variation. So you have to remember this. This variation. Chord like before, diminished chord. Next part. This last part, part of it comes from when you did this. At the beginning, but it diverged here. We don't have this coming back. The variation. Instead we have